Okay, what I want to do is I want to go to, let's see, I want to go to the 19th Mersenne Prime. I showed with MP. Okay, and that number, the exponent of this 19 Mersenne Prime is 4253. Okay, and we immediately find out that chapter 42 in the Quran has 53 verses. Okay, so we know this already, and so I've talked about this before, but I want to just go back and tell you that again we have to ask these questions from ourselves: why these things are the way they are. Okay, this number, which has 1,281 digits, when you raise 2 to the power of 4,253. That means that you multiply 2 by itself 4,253 times. This happens to be the 19th Mersenne Prime. It produces a large number, and then you subtract 1 from that number, a large number, and you get a number which has 1,281 digits. This number was discovered in 1962. Okay? So, and then from that we realize that chapter 42 has 53 verses. This sign could not have been explained in 1960 because we didn't have this knowledge. This knowledge came later. And Quran magnified it, glorified it, okay, by showing that, yes, this actually generated this Quran. But people had to wait. People had to wait for the right time, the right place. The right issues had to be discovered. Okay. So, as you see, there are 4 consecutive digits here. 2, 3, 4, 5. Couldn't be simpler than this. 2, 3, 4, 5. Okay. So if you write the permutation of these 4 digits, you will get 24 numbers, 24 4-digit numbers, and you find out that the 19th one is actually 52 34. That's the 19th permutation of 2, 3, 4, 5. It's 5234. Okay, so now this happens to be a composite. Its index is 4537, and then immediately by going to the Quran, we find out that chapter 45 in the Quran has 37 verses. Okay, but this is another one of Hamim chapters in the Quran. 7 Hamim chapters. 42 is one of them, and 45 is one of them. Okay, so I'm going to stop here. I'm not going to go any further than this. You can do a lot of other things, but we've talked about it before. But I'm not going to say anything about that. But what I notice here that in all of those Hamim chapters, the digits of the number of verses and the chapter number, the only one that adds up to 19 is this one, chapter 45. 4 plus 5 is 9, plus 3 is 12, plus 7 is 19. So that's the only one that adds up to that. So God is again telling us, look, there is something here, is more to it than it meets the eye. Let's put it that way. Okay? So when the 19th group element is 5234 and its index is 4537, and chapter 45 has 37 verses. It's not finished yet. So because this one adds up to 19, so there's more important things about this. So chapter 45 or 45:37 is equal to 13 times 349. Okay? And so, we notice that this happens to be a biprime, which is a semi-prime. It has two factors, two prime factors, 13 times 349. This one happens to be, 13 happens to be the 6th prime, and 349 happens to be the 70th prime. Okay? So now what I want to do is I want to go back to the Quran. So remember number 670. I want to go to chapter 9, verse 127. Right here. And as you see there, 1362, the second number is 670. Okay? 670th verse from the beginning of the Quran in the uninitial surahs in the Quran is 9127. Okay? So again, what we have to ask ourselves, what in the world the exponent of the 19th Mersenne Prime actually does this to us? Why does it do? Why does it do what it does? What does it have to do with the Quran? Why it is trying to tell you that 9 has 127 verses? These are the questions we have to ask ourselves. Okay? We have to, because we owe this to ourselves. We owe this to our souls, which is the real person. Why is it structured like this? So when this number 670 right here, the plum color or whatever it is, a brown color, okay, 670 was designed, that 670 was generated by the exponent of the 19th Mersenne Prime, 4253. That one generated the number of verses in chapter 42. That number generated by permutation group property the number of verses in chapter 45. The number 4537 actually generated how many verses are from 11 to 9127 in the uninitial surahs in the Quran. Okay? This is how God has created things. That's what I said in the first rak'ah, the first unit of this prayers. I said that we have to respect the scripture. We do that, we're always on the right side of the issues. Not that we are, we have been on the right side of the issues. That should be the point. We should ask those questions. Why? Why this? Why this? Why this? There are reasons for those things. Okay? We are overcome and overwhelmed by the societal type of traditions that are wrong. They're not right. The scripture is correct. It's what God is telling us. And we have to believe Him. If we don't do that, we're going to be in trouble. Okay? So, no matter how you look at this Quran, okay, You see that how it's generated? And we cannot argue with numbers. We can argue about everything else, obviously, in science and whatever, but we cannot argue with numbers. Numbers are numbers. We can't change them. There is nothing I can do about this number here. I can't do anything about 4253. It is the 19th, the exponent of the 19th Mersenne Prime. And chapter 42 just happens to have 53 verses. The 90th permutation of that one, that number 4253 is actually 5234. And its index happens to be, index of that composite happens to be 4537. And it just happens that chapter 45 has 37 verses. And it happens that chapter 45 is also another one of the Hamim chapters. It just happened. They're all coincidences. Okay? It just happens that 4537 is 13 times 349, and it just happens that those numbers are the 6 and the 70th prime number, and 670 is the number of verses from 11 to 9127. All of these are accidents and coincidences. That's what they are telling us. Okay? So we have to be alert about this. Okay? And so we have to make sure that we understand it. Okay? So I'm going to stop here.